Well folks, Monjita has been rescued from Roebuck House, amid the horrors of Halloween, albeit in a frozen state of petrification, brought on by her experiences in Torbay's most haunted building. She is now with Auntie Joan, but a week later remains rock solid in the corner of Auntie Joan's tiny living room in Abbey Road. Terry has just popped up, on Joan's 47-year-old black and white television set, to chew over the cud, with her best friend. The two local ladies have lived in Torquay all of their lives, and have no doubts about what goes on.
I can't believe that Monjita hasn't thawed out yet. Heavens, the experience of being in Roebuck House, on the night of Halloween, have truly chilled her to the bone.
I can feel the cold radiating from her as we speak, Terry. I wonder what Council Leader Mrs. Precious Love is doing, now that Monjita is missing from Roebuck House. Her plan to dispel rumors that the building is haunted has failed. She expected Monjita to tell developers how she spent Halloween there, and never met any ghosts.
Well, Joan, that's another Liberal Democrat bubble that has well and truly burst. Torbay Tories must be laughing their shrouds off, knowing that local elections are just a matter of months away, and Mrs. Precious Love and her yellow cronies are all set to become toast.
The gypsy blood coursing through my veins knows that Roebuck House is a cursed building, Terry. No good shall ever come of it. It needs razing to the ground. The murdered victims deserve a proper memorial. As the building finally succumbs to the bulldozer, so the spirit of the gunman, who is believed to haunt that old office block, will be drawn to God's light, and shall face their judgment.
I don't believe any of that stuff, Joan. I just see Amity Buck as an eyesore. Torbay deserves better than having another ugly cash cow, filling the coffers of some wealthy developer, who may not even live here. Money has always spoken louder than the voice of us ordinary people. Money comes first in Torbay, ordinary people a second.
Terry, I don't think it's just Torbay. Still, let's see what's been happening on the local news pages. Oh my, is that Brixham, dear? I have read that migrants are arriving there in droves, all crammed into rubber dinghies. Once on the pontoon, they choose a council house in Torquay, Paynton or Brixham, and get given keys to a brand new car, with a full tank of petrol.
For heaven's sake, Joan, you need to stop reading the right-wing press. You know stuff like that is being written to fuel the racists. The picture was taken off the Kent coast. All I know is that the Home Office has taken over 2 hotels in Torbay for people seeking asylum. The council certainly isn't giving away any houses or cars.
There's a massive hoo-ha up at the town hall, Terry. Dwayne, who is as sound as a pound, said that Torbay Council plan to take legal action against the Home Office. They are fuming about the additional pressures for local services and the economic impact of housing asylum seekers in a tourist area.
Why are asylum seekers triggering such a massive response at the town hall, when Torbay's private landlords have been putting additional pressures on local policing and health and social care services for years, through housing mostly white British people, released from prisons, the mentally ill, and victims of abuse and addictions?
Oh, dear Terry, what on earth are you trying to say, dear? At least the asylum seekers will have a decent roof over their heads, and windows that are in one piece, at the former hotels. That's more than a lot of people around us get. The town hall doesn't consider the impact on tourism, when visitors park in Melville Street and see carnage.
Let's face it, Joan, it's just another example of the double standards at work in Torbay. There's a rule for the town hall elite and their friends and another for the rest of us. They wouldn't be looking for excuses to stop asylum seekers coming here, if they thought that any one of them at the Paynton Hotel had a father owning an oil well.
I'm glad to be just an ordinary town centre woman, Terry. Someone who gets on with their daily life in the best way that they can. You are strong, able to speak your mind, and not fear arrest or imprisonment at the town hall dungeons. I like to watch the daily broadcast from the town hall. I'll chat to you afterwards, dear.
I'm coming to you today, from the Ivory Tower, high above Torquay Town Centre and rooted at the town hall. My guest is my lady-in-waiting, Miss Monjita Mason. She ignored the troublemakers, gossips, negative residents and the naysayers around Melville, to spend a night in Roebuck House, to prove there aren't any ghosts there.
This is true, your worshipfulness, the most high and mighty, glorious counselor, Torbay leader, Mrs. Precious Love. I enjoyed such a pleasant night's sleep in Roebuck House. I never saw, heard or felt anything that could be remotely described as supernatural. Roebuck is a beautiful place, ripe for development, to make its owners rich.
Indeed, it is Monjita. Have you got it now, you plebs out there? Stop listening to the negative people around Melville, like Tracy Ireland, who go on about Amitybuck House. They make out that Roebuck House is a haunted building. It is nothing of the sort. It will make a wonderful house of mass multiple occupancy and help reduce my chronic housing waiting lists.
What on earth is going on, Terry? Monjita stands frozen solid in the corner of my living room, after being petrified and alone in Roebuck House. She had to be rescued by Tracy and Dwayne, otherwise she would have died. How can Monjita be with council leader, Mrs. Precious Love in the ivory tower? I am totally confused by all this.
I'm not. That wasn't Monjita with council leader, Mrs. Precious Love. It was a doppelganger of sorts, and didn't even speak like Monjita. Did you notice, we never once saw the doppelganger's face, only the back of his hijab? Mrs. Precious Love is desperate, and up to all sorts of devious tricks, just to get what she wants, and cling to power.
We must let Tracy and the others know about this, Terry. The doppelganger must be exposed for the sake of ordinary people in Torbay.